Is this your current time pressure monitoring system? Stay tuned for Gadgetplex.
Hey, welcome to Gadgetplex, the show about technology and how it applies to your RVing lifestyle. I'm Dave Dufour, and I'm here with Phil May, who is the owner-operator of TechnoRV.com, which is a great website that presents all kinds of great gadgets that you can use on the road, and that some of them are, we're going to talk about a couple today that really have a lot to do with your safety on the road. How are you doing, Phil?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks, Dave. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. You're down there. You're in Florida. Whereabouts right now? You're traveling, of course, as always.
Yeah, yeah. We were saying just it's got a little bit cooler now, so it's chilly. It's down to like 65, 68 degrees. Because when last time we were down in the Keys, and that was a lot warmer.
Yeah, right. Well, Florida's had its share of bad weather too this winter as well. But I think spring is finally here, so we're kind of coming back here in northern Indiana as well. TechnoRV.com. I've got it up on my screen here. If you want to take a look, this just gives you an idea of a lot of the different things that are available there. Everything from GPS to lighting to security devices and things like that. And these are the kind of things you do some lecturing on this along the road too, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. We have the website, but of course we visit a lot of the RV shows. So in fact, we've got one just coming up next week, towards the end of next week in Perry, Georgia. This is an FMCA international show, and what we do there is we have a booth, and so we're able to show our products. But it's nice also that we can talk and explain about what they do and answer questions from people. And then, as you mentioned, we have a number of shows seminars that we'll lecture at. So we'll talk about computer safety and security, personal safety, those types of things.
Perfect. Well, today we're talking about tire safety, and you have a couple of gadgets. Well, let's talk, first of all, we talk about ways to monitor the level of your tires and the safety of your tires, and we have some pictures here that kind of show us a little bit about the kinds of things that you need to watch out for. Let's see that first slide. Yeah. There we go. Oh, we're talking. You need a towing monitor
that's
system,
a good one.
right?
I was just going to say that's a kind of a fun one, but for many people is their tire monitoring system, and in fact this actually happened to us when we'd first set off in our RV. We were going down the highway, and somebody very similar to this lady was waving at us. We just thought we were in a state where people were very friendly, and so it's like we were waving back, and it kind of went on, and then more people were waving at us, and I was looking in the rear view camera, because you have a camera on a lot of motorhomes now. I couldn't see anything, and then we looked out of the mirror, and you could see a kind of a trail of smoke coming out of the back of the Jeep, a little bit like those fighter planes when they're doing the displays and they have the trails behind them. And I thought, oh crikey, we need to slow down, and I'd left the handbrake on, but for many people that is their system, and it's not a very good system. So no. We're hoping to be able to show some things that are just a little bit more reliable than that.
Right. One of the things that can happen, of course, you can lose if you can happen is you can lose tire tread, and I think we've got a shot of that. Kind of, this may or may not be the worst case scenario, but it's pretty bad. How does this happen?
Yeah, that's a friend of mine, Jim, and this happened on his trailer. He races powerboats, and so he did literally hundreds of thousands of miles across the country. What had happened here? There's many points of failure when you're towing. The simplest is that most people are familiar with is when you get a puncture, and that can be a slow puncture or it can be a blowout. But there are other things as well. What Jim's pointing to here is what's called a detached tread, where the actual you can just kind of see it there. It's like the rubber lining on the outside of the tire starts to wear and then starts detaching. And so if you carry on and don't detect it as you're driving, it'll gradually get worse and worse, and then you can have the catastrophic failure where you'll go through and you'll have the blowout. And so what you really want is a system that can detect a range of the different things that can go wrong, be it from punctures to detaching tread, and then of course there are other things that can go wrong.
Okay, yeah, we have some other pictures here. What the next one, I believe, is photo of. Well, here's some other tire issues as well. This is the extreme,
Right.
sort of the extreme result, right?
Yeah, and people might think, who are not so familiar with RVing, think, well, that's kind of stupid. How could you have something that serious? Well, a lot of motorhomes now, they're pretty powerful. They're big diesel engines, 400 plus horsepower. You can be merrily driving along down the road with no idea what's going on behind you with your tow vehicle.
Right.
And if you do have a problem with the tire, as in this instance here on this Jeep, once you've got a flat, then you start to run on the rim. You can then the whole tire can detach, and as you can see, it actually sort of wore it all the way down to the rim there. And this Jeep was a write-off. I mean, people will say, well, I have insurance, but anybody who's been through claiming and dealing with insurance companies knows that's really not a situation you want to be in. It's dangerous and it's a lot of hassle, and you're without a vehicle while it's all being resolved.
It seems like this is the sort of thing that you would hear, but obviously in a large Class A motorhome, you might not hear it. That kind of wear can go from just a simple flat down to that, riding on a nub circumstance pretty quickly, though, can't it?
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen quickly, or it can happen slowly. There's a range of different scenarios, but of course. I think there are lots of other situations that can happen. You've got bolts can work loose on wheels. I mean, I actually have seen myself. It was on it wasn't being towed, but it was a police car coming up to some lights. Stopped quickly. I don't know what it was, and one of his wheels just carried on bouncing down the road.
Right.
So I mean, I've seen it myself. Wheels do come off, and then you've got the whole of the towing apparatus. When you're hooking up, you're hooking up to a hitch, which is a potential point of failure.
Yeah, we've got a picture of a hitch that failed
loose,
as well.
The telescopic arms can break.
Right. Let's see that. There you go. Yeah. And then now, can tire failure cause? Systems sort of affect each other, obviously.
Correct. Yeah, you can have one system which can lead to another. So you can have a problem with a tire, which would then put extra strain on the hitch, which could cause the hitch to fail. Or you can have just mechanical wear and fatigue and stress. We had again in our experiences, we used to tow a Jeep behind the RV, and we use a towing system. It's one of the best ones. And what had happened was that we were pulling up to a traffic light, luckily going slowly, and the arm that connects the motorhome, one of the arms that connects the motorhome to the Jeep, completely came loose. And so the Jeep, when I put the brakes on, veered to the side and slammed into the back of the coach.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was going slowly, so there wasn't too much of a problem. But previously, the day before, I'd been traveling on hairpin roads. And I only, through California, I only shudder to think what could have happened if the Jeep had gone over the side. In fact, I think we've got a picture.
We've got a spectacular
kind of
point of failure illustration here. Yeah, let's see that. That has got to be pretty terrifying as it happens.
Yeah, that's obviously a terrible situation and a very scary situation. So you can lose, potentially you could lose the tow vehicle over the side. Or in this case, I think what probably happened is when you're towing a large vehicle behind, be it either a boat or a fifth wheel, you can get what's called the death wobble. And it can either be caused by excessive speeds or crosswinds, or imbalanced tires, the pressures, and once that wobble sets in, it's a little bit like if you remember when you were a kid on a bicycle, and if you're going too fast and the handlebars start shaking backwards and forwards, and you really just can't stabilize it. That can happen sometimes, and it just grows and grows, and ends in failure.
Right. Well, at least they saved their boat, right?
yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit scary there. We have another boat towing situation that you sent us. Another boat tow package here. This looks pretty stable, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's a real photo. It's not a Photoshop, but that's really not a recommended towing configuration, I don't think.
Okay, all right. Well, obviously, there's a lot of ways that these systems can fail, but what we're going to be talking about in our upcoming segments is prevention and some of the gadgets that can help you keep a better handle on especially tire wear and tire condition, and make sure that you have a safe towing experience. We'll be right back with more of Gadgetplex in just a minute, so stay right with us.
For more TV like this from the world of RVs, head to RVNN.tv.